All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another update on the markets. Welcome to another update on the PSEI. And we're going to talk about in this video where is the market headed? Where's the broad market headed? So this video will be for people who's tracking the index, who's tracking the broad market, or those that are tracking large cap stocks. Because as you all know, the PSEI is a composition of 30 stocks with the ones that have larger market caps who have a larger influence on the movement of the index. So as those large cap stocks go, so as the index would go as well. And I'm gonna drill down more about that in this video. So there. Before I begin, those of you who've been asking for a couple of videos, I already dropped the Dito video. We have two videos on it. We're gonna make it a series for those who've been asking more about the telco saga telco series. But if you guys have any other questions, just put them in the comment section below, and then I'm gonna make videos on top of that. Then last night we posted a video on fund manager of FAMI who handles 10.5 billion pesos. How do they do it? What's the rationale and mentality for people who are doing it? Then BSP lowering interest rates, Salvido Plito, the wire card issue, five stock market tips, mutual fund versus MPI, all of that are in the videos prior to this. So if you want to know more, just right after this video, continue to watch, continue to consume, continue to learn. And by the way, for those who don't know me, if you stumbled upon this for the very, very first time, my name is Marvin Germo. I'm a stock market trader and investor, and I've been uh, investing and trading in the markets for more than a decade now. But the reason why I've been making YouTube videos is I noticed that there's such a need for people to be educated properly, that they don't just listen to hype, they don't listen to speculation, that this channel is dedicated to lift people up, to help people that they get to analyze it properly. That's why I've been saying this all the time. You will never hear about picks here. This is what you buy, this is how you do it. It's me teaching you how you can analyze, how you can strategize, because if you can do it on your own, then the market becomes something that's sustainable for you. The goal here is not for you to get a one-time big time thing that will make you rich. That's not how it works. The goal of investing in the market is you can do something that's sustainable, so that you create wealth not just once, but you do it repeatedly over a stretched period of time. Please never ever focus on just getting a jackpot, because if you want to get a jackpot, that's all you'll ever get, and a jackpot only happens once. You want to have something that's sustainable. And I keep saying this all the time. The best way to get rich is to do it right. The best way to get rich is to make it to love the process of doing it. And it's not easy. It's not get rich quick, and it's not about cutting corners and doing things in a shortcut. So if you want more of that, you want to learn, you're the type of person that wants to build that skill, that acumen, and to be able to do it the way I do it as well, subscribe, smash the bell. We keep making videos on a daily basis. Now, for this video, by the way, I forgot to mention this. A lot of people have been asking questions, no, but di ako nagre-reply sa Facebook. Apologies, because I get tons of messages in Facebook, around 400 to 500 a day. Ganun din sa iba kong accounts. The best way for you to message me is Instagram. That's where my smallest following is. I try just to manage expectations, medyo madami na rin yung messages, but I try as much as possible to reply to at least 10 to 20 people a day. I'm doing my best, but there's just a lot, and I don't know if I can reply to everyone. So, sa mga hindi ko na-replyan, especially in Facebook, ang dami talaga eh. Madami lang talaga. But for those who have urgent questions, Instagram is the way to go. So, for today's podcast, and I've been getting a lot of feedback from all of you guys that you like this podcast format, no, this podcast slash webinar format, and then the podcast slash interview format. You guys are loving that. So we're gonna do more of that. Siguro there's still gonna be a lot. Siguro vlog style videos from time to time. Not as much anymore kasi hindi naman ako nakakalabas eh. So it's hard to do walking vlogs, but I love doing those walking vlogs because mas masaya siya, mas challenging. It's easier to think about what you're saying if it's in a structured environment like this. But when you're walking, may kasalubong ka, may kotse na dumadaan, tumatawid ka ng kalsada, it's different and it's harder, and you have to think where to pass, and at the same time you're building content to people. But for this video today, We're going to talk about 8 things you need to know about the Philippine stock market and where it's headed. So, meaning in this video, for the entire duration of this, we will focus on and we will drill down on current economic data. I didn't mention it's not here also, but we're going to talk about price action. We're going to talk about the economic data that relates to it, then everyone's favorite technical analysis. And in all of this, the price action, the economic data, technical analysis, I'm going to give my own commentary also. And I hope that as I give my own opinion. This helps you. But at the end of the day, please, over and over and over and over, do not just use what I say. You have to study what I say. Do not buy just because it's spoken here. You have to form your own opinion on buying. You have to form your own opinion on selling, because that's what will make your stock market trading and investing very, very strong, is if you know what you're getting into and you're not just buying because some expert told you to buy. So this is the entire context of what we'll talk about, but I divided it into 8. So let's see how long will this go. No, as you all know, every time I make videos, it's not scripted. Every time I make videos, it's all raw, as raw as it can be. And aside from that, is I try to explain it in a way that I hope that you guys get it as much as you can, because that's the goal of why I've been doing this video. So if you guys are excited, comment I'm excited. And by the way, at the end of this video, as always, check out if you'll be the subscriber of the day. Now, number one, where are we now? This is the PSEI as of the close today. So as you can see, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index closed at 6,105. Last Friday, we were at 6,191. So down 1.4%. Yung down na nga yan, na 1.4% na yan, that would have been a larger percentage down. It would have been massively larger. With the exception that we started to rally past 12 o'clock. Let me just fix this first. So we started to rally past 12, somewhere around 12 o'clock. So we started to move up, hence the 1.4% closing. And I'd like to mention this, and if you've been following me for quite some time, I would always mention you watch what BDO, what ACSM, what Ali and SMPH would do, because they have a large say in the index, because their market cap is very, very big. As you can see today, BDO is down 4.57%. If BDO is down 4.57% and it has a large effect on the index, then guess what? You can't really expect the index to push up. Ali is down also, AC is down also, SM is down also, BPI is also pretty much down. The only one that's up, as for the stocks that I've mentioned, was SM Prime. So that's where we are. Value turnover also. I think is around 5 billion. Not on where we want it to be. No, I want it to be around 6, 7 billion, or as high as 8 to be solid. But 5, I think that's where the average is as well on from a certain period for the entire index. Now, looking at the chart, this is where we closed. As what I've mentioned, there was a rally in the final hour or so of trading. That's why you saw from the low point, for those who understand candlesticks, and for those who attended our stock smart sessions where we analyze the candlesticks, you will see here that it hit a low, then it started to retrace higher intraday, giving it a chance to close above the 6,106 support level. If we did not close above the 6,106 level, then it would have been a breakdown. It would have been us talking about a different story altogether, that it breaking down from the 6,106 level may lead into deeper movements downward. And I'm going to show you also later on at the end of this where we are from a 2-year perspective, where we are also looking at the trend. So the market today was able to hold off a bit of selling. The market today, for the third consecutive day, hovered close to the 6,106 support level. I repeat, the market today hovered and was protected at the 6,106 level. It got protected by a semblance of buying. As it got protected by a semblance of buying, please watch out for the 6,106 level in the next few days. Why? Because if we hold and stay above the 6,106 level, it could continue and we could see a bounce. Two levels. I've plotted it already here. You see 6583. That's where the longer and stronger resistance is, but we have an immediate a closer resistance at around the 6335 level. So please write this down. I wasn't able already to put another line there, but close the short term closer resistance is 6335. Then you have a longer resistance at the 6583 level. So please write it down. Bounce from 6106, immediate resistance 6335. Breakout from 6335 will bring it to the larger one at the 6583 level. However, again, for those who attended our Stock Smart sessions, I'd always say you need to have an optimistic area to sell and then a pessimistic area. If you buy at 6106 and then you see it start to break down and it does not hold that level, make sure you cut, especially if you're a trader. Again, this context for me showing this chart is for quick traders. If it fails to hold the 6106 level, tapos may hawak kayo, may nabili kayo, and then quick trader kayo, make sure that you get out of that position because the next probable landing spot for it will bring the stock to around or the market to around 5,718. So I repeat, failure to hold the 6106 level may bring the Philippine Stock Exchange Index back to the 5718 level. So again, write it down: 6106, 6335 first resistance, next resistance is 6583. Failure to hold 6106 could bring the market to 5718. Now, one thing I'd like to also point out is this. The move up started early June. So as you can see here, no, end of May, then you saw it start to break out early June, push up early June, green candles, one, two, three, four, five green candles, large bodies of green candles, noting bullish buying. I'd like to repeat that. Whenever you see bullish movements, whenever you see bullish candles,
Here's what I found online. Please look at the
kulit ng Samsung phone. Always does that. I have to figure out, guys. So please comment below how can I fix that na hindi na siya Bigsby. I'm an Apple user, but there's another phone here at my back that's Samsung. But anyways, the large push up that we saw here, I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna explain why, but it's very consistent right now that we're seeing that number one after the large push up at the end of May and start of
to make a call to.
so anyways. So the large push up is primarily because of what I'm going to discuss later on. But after the large push up, we've seen it start to move sideways. So please do note, and I want to discuss it from June to where we are today. Because of the large push up from the start of the month, after that, we've started to consolidate. Now, that being said, a bounce from the 6106 level will further reiterate that a bounce from the 6106 support will further reiterate that we are still moving and continuing sideways. So again, that's what I've mentioned. The move up started last June 2020, and after that, we've started to move sideways already from a 1 month duration. So number two, what triggered it? What was the cause for this large push up? Uh, my opinion, it's basically just optimism on the GCQ. Whatever we saw here, if you remember the timelines properly, Metro Manila, which forms the largest part of our GDP, and then you include the adjacent provinces from Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Pampanga, Bulacan, we form a large part of the GDP. Now, at the end of May, start of June, GCQ happened. That's when the optimism started. So what we're seeing, what we saw at the start of June, the large push up was pretty much because people were just optimistic that we were at GCQ. I repeat, the large move up, and I've been saying this in a lot of the videos already, the large move up that we saw from June was pretty much because of GCQ. That being said, though, the reason why we're moving sideways is because aside from that, there's nothing really going on anymore. There's really nothing causing people to buy higher. Please remember, and I keep saying this all the time, that buyers, investors, push markets higher when they're willing to buy a stock at a higher price. Them not willing to buy it at a higher price won't really cause markets to rally or push higher. I repeat, what causes markets to push up is when you see a collective group of investors willing to buy up a stock at a much higher price. Without that being present, you won't really see large rallies in the market. Every time it starts to go up, sellers will just come in because of hesitation of buyers to come in and buy it higher without any other solid reason aside from optimism on the GCQ. You can't really expect the markets to rally. And one of the reasons why it started to go sideways still for the month of June, because number three, the reality is there's still so much we need to fix. Uh, whatever. Please remember the stock market is a forward-looking market, but it doesn't mean the economy is good already. It doesn't mean that there's so much that whatever we thought that it would move up na tuloy-tuloy, that okay na yung economy, hindi pa eh. People were just optimistic that the economy again had its restart already. Now, what are the bad things? What are the things that we still need to fix? What are the things that are not yet we're not yet there from economic perspective? So please remember, just to give you also context, that 2019 our economy was running in full throttle. The fact that we went into a lockdown shut down the entire economy, shut down 90% of the economy. So even right now during GCQ, you have a lot of the retail establishments working at 50% capacity. So how can it go back to where it was before if they're working at 50% capacity? So how can they earn? Again, if they're just earning at 50% capacity, it means 50% of their employees are also not possibly working, or they might have laid off some of their employees, or some of their employees are just working maybe half a week lang, something like that. So what are the things that need to be fixed? Number one, and I've been saying this over and over, Q2, once the numbers start to come out, it will verify that we will enter into a recession this second quarter. I repeat, we will enter a recession. The Philippine economy will enter a recession the second quarter. The definition of a recession, in technical terms, is basically 2 quarters of negative growth. And if you look at it here, we already got negative growth for the first quarter of 2020. And I've created so many videos about it. You can just backtrack. This I've said that this negative growth does not even factor in the lockdown for April, May, and the GCQ of June. It only factors in 2 weeks of lockdown. It only factors in the Taal volcano explosion. It only factors in the fear of people not going into malls, but there was no lockdown yet. So pretty much no, kung nag-contract tayo ng first quarter of June, you can expect that second quarter we will contract, but not just that, it will be worse. And I'm saying this because so you know, please remember, as positive and as optimistic as I want to be and give you as much information as possible, there will be some data that similar to Dito, that they're not earning money. So that's something that has to be disclosed. That's something that has to be reported. Similar to what happened also to MPI last year when they had some issues with with Manilad, that caused a threat also to the revenue stream. So there, we, as much as we want to be optimistic as possible, but there comes to a point also that we have to face the music, that there will be some data that may not be favorable. There will be some data that, as much as we want it to be good, it won't be that good. So, second quarter, GDP, Philippines, we will enter a recession. So, meaning the optimism from the first quarter or from the GCQ, when the reality sets in that we're not yet out of it, may dampen sentiment in the market. So please remember, GCQ just opened up the market. That's it. Or opened up businesses. Ibang storya yung open na kung kakain ba ulit yung mga tao or babalik ba ulit sa dating consumption. That's another story to begin with. Anyways, another thing is, up until this point, it's June 29, Monday. There's still no mass rollout of the cure or the vaccine. I had a video with one of the scientists in Harvard Medicine Boston. And at that time, that was April, she said that the cure vaccine will be at least at the very, very fastest a year. So there's a lot of news items already that there might be a vaccine coming out soon, but the reality is there's still a lot of clinical trials that need to happen. So totoo na pag may news na may vaccine, possible na baka mag-jump yung stocks na malaki yung chance na magkaroon ng vaccine. But the real life application, the distribution, the mass production, a year. So if it was April and we're June right now, we're still 10 months away. And please remember this, unahan yan. I don't know how large of a chunk of that medicine will go to the Philippines at the very least. So the GDP will contract. There's still no cure for the vaccine. And number three is a lot of businesses are still closed. When I say a lot of businesses are still closed, sabi mo Marvin, 50% are already open. Not really. Even when you go to the mall, there are a lot of businesses that are connected to touch, like the spas, some of the salons, waxing studios, some gyms. They're relatively close still. Uh, you also have you also have a lot of businesses connected to mass gatherings like weddings, expos, exhibitions. They're all closed. Weddings are also closed. So all of the businesses connected to that are not making money also. Caterers, photo, video, lights and sounds, hosts, MCs, LED boards, etc. are not making money. So there's still a large chunk of businesses that are relatively close. Then you add when you go to the mall, I saw a lot of the tour companies or a lot of the travel companies still closed also because it doesn't make sense for them to open kung wala rin naman magta-travel. It doesn't make sense to them to book something if yung destination nila sarado rin. So up until this time, there's still a lot of businesses that are closed. And I just like to add this that aside from a lot of businesses that are closed, there will be a lot of businesses that, because of what happened the past 3 months, they will be permanently closed. Because of what happened the past few months, they may not be able to open anymore because probably they incurred a lot of debt, or probably they may not have enough customers, or probably because everything is so weak, it will just really overwhelm them to open. And that's the reality, that there are some businesses that were okay in 2019 that may not be prevalent anymore, may not be working this 2020. And one thing that's so real also right now is that because sarado yung mga negosyo, yung mga dating nagtatrabaho doon, wala silang trabaho. And unemployment is very, very high. And I posted this in a previous video that this is how higher unemployment is. This is one of the largest unemployment rates that we've seen in a very, 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 very long time. So, anyways, uh, one another thing that I'd like to point out is infections have still not been flattened. Meaning, I think we have around 40,000 infections already today. This is a shot from yesterday where we had around 34,000 confirmed cases. So we really haven't flattened the curve. Aside from the vaccine and cure not there, we really have not slowed down the infections. Meaning, we have not slowed down the infections. It will be harder for businesses to go back to normal. It will be harder for life to go back to normal. It will be harder for what we knew in 2019 to be what we're experiencing today. So I think one of the things that people need to watch out for is also the infections. I'm going to show another slide later that's so related to this, but please do note that where we were in March, nothing much has changed because the growth of the infections is still there. But if there's one thing that I've been seeing also is that we've been learning to adapt. Uh, we've been learning to be more careful. And I hope that for those that are going out, for those that need to go out, you have to be careful also because the disease, the virus, is still out there. It really hasn't, just because we're in GCQ, it doesn't mean that the cure is there, the virus is stopped, that the virus won't infect you. It's still there. So, anyways, we're now at the midway point. I hope you guys are learning. Comment below if you are. Comment below if this is something that's helping you. So what I've just reiterated is basically this: the economy will enter a recession. We still don't have a cure. A lot of businesses are closed. Unemployment is pretty much high, and infections have still not been flattened. So why did the stock market go up? I mentioned it at the start already that it was all about optimism on GCQ, as you can see here. But I wanted to show you the chart from November to where we are now. So this is basically a 7 month chart. And when the lockdown started, I want to point this out. At some point in March, the index was around 66, hovering around those levels. Then the news about the coronavirus, that it became a global pandemic, we saw more selling. Then when the lockdown started, the PSE was closed. 2 days after they opened, then boom, intraday, the market hit 4,000 intraday. I want to point this out. From the time that happened, the market was 6-6. It just took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 days from 6-6 to 4-4. I repeat, we saw the market drop from the start of March around 6-6 to around 4,000 intraday in just 8 trading days. So, why am I saying this? Uh, the reason we saw the market move up because of optimism in GCQ, but above and beyond that, it's basically we also dropped irrationally last March. Please remember, the stock market is a forward-looking market, but the drop to 4,000 was something that was also based on pure emotion. The drop to 4,000 intraday was something that was based also on people being scared. The drop to 4,000 intraday was because people wanted to be in cash. When people are scared, they want to liquidate their positions. When people who own mutual funds made money and want to liquidate, they will sell. For people who are scared, even though they're losing money, some will also sell. And when they sell, more sellers bring the prices down. And that's what we saw. And at that time, at the 4,000 plus level, that was irrational. At the 4,000 plus level, there was a lot of fear. And if there's one barometer that I'd like you guys to see, if there's one barometer that uh, I'd like you guys to get, is basically this. Uh, at the point of maximum fear, that may be the cheapest point for you to buy. I repeat, at the point of maximum fear, that may be the cheapest point for you to buy. However, that's why investing in the market is all about mastering your emotions. Investing in the market is all about allocating an amount of money that you can tolerate, that at the point of maximum fear, because you just allocated an amount of money that you can control, you don't become so emotional. So, again, the reason why we also moved up was because the drop last March was so irrational and it was just fear driven, and it was because there was a lot of uncertainty going on. And as you can see also from March all the way to May, we suddenly saw some of those things that were uncertain start to unfold na hindi na siya ganun ka nakakatakot. People were scared na baka maubusan ng pera. People were scared na baka walang makain. People were scared na baka there might be a shortage of pork, of meat, of canned goods, which what we saw even during the height of the lockdown from March to where we are right now, it never happened. And that time, that entire almost a quarter gave 2 months gave the market a chance no to consolidate. But while it was consolidating, it gave people the chance to also digest what was going on. That the reason why it did not go down again to something that was irrational, similar to mid March, was basically, hmm, okay na pala siya eh. It's different, it's scary, but it's not anymore as scary as what we thought it was. And as evidence that's why from March to some point at the end of May, we never saw the market go lower already than 5.3, 5.4. It started to build a base there. And then if you're looking at the right side again, at some point at the end of May, we saw it start to rally because that was what I mentioned, the optimism from the GCQ. So we dropped irrationally last March. The drop that we saw was pretty much sentiment based. It was irrational. It was fearful because, again, rightfully so, we are walking in an era that we've never planned, we've never saw, we never thought that would happen. And whenever there's uncertainty, people react on an emotional level. When there's uncertainty, people also try to preserve their cash. Now, number six, I hope you guys are learning. I hope this is something that's helping you. What are investors waiting on now? And the reason why I'm pointing this slide is these are things that you need to factor in. Uh, I think over the next few months, These are things that you need to factor in to see, because these are what investors are also looking at. Number six is the Q2 GDP results. Remember what I said, that we are going to contract. But one of the things that you need to consider as we start to contract is, if there's a level investors are looking at, say 7% negative, example lang, 7% negative GDP, and then suddenly we contract pero negative 2 lang tayo, then we're performing better than what everyone else is expecting. That means, the market may not drop as much, or it might consolidate a bit, or it might even go higher. Or on the flip side, if everyone's expecting negative 7%, and then we get negative 20, then that may push markets even lower. So what I want to say is this: whatever the results that people are expecting, uh, please remember, people are already expecting that we will get negative GDP. That's a given. That's a given. That's why we're going to enter a recession. But if it's worse off than what people are expecting, expect a larger decline. If it's not as bad as what people are expecting, expect that we may bounce a bit, or we may continue and consolidate up until we really receive better news few months down the line. One of the things that they're also watching out, corporate earnings, same thing, same thing. If I mentioned about Q2, uh, if I mentioned about Q2 GDP, investors are also looking at Q2 corporate earnings, especially the large cap ones. Please remember, it's institutions that drives markets higher or lower, either local institutions or foreign institutions, and those large foreign local institutions are looking at earnings of those companies. The Ayala Lands, Large Cap, Ayala Corp, BDO, SM Prime, the ones that they normally buy. So if they're good, better than expected, then there's an expectation that, hey, it's not as bad as what we think. They might start to buy more again, especially the foreign funds. Please do note, those foreign funds just buy the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So if they bought Ayala Land before, guess what? When they come back here, they're gonna buy Ayala Land once again. And that's what I'm saying. And if it's worse off naman, similar to the GDP, example, you might expect, there's an expectation that we might see it go again lower, at a much lower pace also, because earnings are much worse than we expected. Now, number seven, what should you keep an eye on? In my opinion, no, this is very very important, that we don't go back to ECQ, because I really believe we cannot afford another uh, close grid lockdown. That I really hope that moving forward, the cases start to taper down. It will go back again also to what I mentioned about the cases of the coronavirus, the growth of the cases. Because if the growth doesn't get tapered and we continue to grow more infections still, it might cause, like what's happening in Cebu right now as of the taping of this video, it might be a trigger for them to say that things are not looking so good. Let's go back to ECQ. Let's go back to modified ECQ. And that's bad for us. If we shut down the economy again, if you think the first quarter GDP was bad, expect the next few months and quarters to be even worse. So I repeat, we cannot afford a second lockdown. If we digress, it will be bad for the economy. But in the same way, because the stock market is forward looking, it will be bad for the markets. And one of the things that I think that should be positive is for the economy to continue while all of this is happening, we need to learn how to operate in this new normal. Meaning, wala nang lockdown, but proper social distancing is employed. People know how to wash their hands. People know how to sanitize. People know how to protect themselves, and people need to be careful. Because up until a vaccine is found, the problem is if we wait up until a vaccine is found a year from now, there will be a lot of businesses that will suffer. There will be a lot of jobs that will be continued to be lost. So it's very, very important how everyone starts to pivot and starts to operate in line with this new normal. It doesn't matter if it's PPE, sanitation, UV, but we need to see the economy start to turn again. We need to see people start spending again. We need to see start businesses to earn again. So once you see that start and get kick-started, I'm pretty much sure that we're not going to be at the 2019 levels. That's not going to happen. But as long as transactions continue to flourish, it will bring optimism. When there's optimism, people will be more liberal in their spending. When people are more liberal in their spending, businesses start to ex- think of expansion again. When people are more liberal and they think that the economy is better, then you see start people start buying items that right now are deemed not as important. You may see people start to buy a lot of houses again, a lot of condos again, cars again, that expensive bag again, that trip again, etc. Number eight, lastly, I hope you guys stayed up until number eight. Comment below if you stayed up until eight. Put there. I stayed until number eight. I want to show you what the is saying when you stretch the chart further. Remember at the start I showed you what it looked like from a quick trading standpoint, and this is something that's very telling. Uh, Even though we've moved already right now from from the pits of 4,000, even though we've bounced from the 5-4 support level, even though at the end of June we started to move up. If you see the trend lines that I plotted and the moving averages that I've plotted, we still have not reversed yet. We are not yet out of the downtrend. We still don't have full conviction yet from a trend analysis standpoint, from a moving average standpoint, that a reversal is there. So that's what I want to show you, that from a position trading standpoint, from a trend standpoint, we really have not fully reversed yet. And that's very, very important for you to know, especially if you're a trend follower, because if there's one thing I do know, the charts show us everything. That if it fails to break a certain resistance level, selling will happen. If it fails to break a certain trend line, selling will happen. And as selling will happen, more sellers will bring the prices down. And as of today, we're not yet there. We're not we're not as cheap and as low as where we were last March. We're not as cheap and as low as where we were last May. And some of the uncertainty is out the door already, but we have not fully reversed yet. But what I do know is we are in a better position right now from a stock market perspective than where we were more than a quarter ago. So there, we still have not escaped the downtrend. And I hope you guys are learning. Comment below if you're learning. Comment if this is something that's helping you. If you guys have any questions about the charts, about the economy, about my analysis, put them in the comment section below and I'll try to answer them just quickly. If not, I'm going to make a video on top of that. Subscribers of the day, three again. Albert Trimo. Correct, buray na natin ang crab mentality. Let's push our Filipinos up. We need more Marvin Germo. Thank you so much for that. But totoo naman, one of the things that hinders Filipinos to do better is there's a lot of people with crab mentality. We need to stop crab mentality right now because it doesn't help progress the country. And one thing I guess that I'd like to point out, if you don't have anything good to say, kesa mainggit ka sa kaibigan mo, kesa mainggit ka dun sa nagawa nung isa mong kamag-anak na magaling, just try to add value to them, and as you try to add value to them, they could also in turn add value to you. It doesn't help kung naiinggit kayo, it just shows you na insecure. So you try to help people up, you don't try to pull them down. Mark Sherwin Reyes said, never lose hope. Thank you for those powerful and inspiring words. Totoo, uh, I keep saying this all the time. Above and beyond information, people need inspiration, that there's a hope still right after this, that we shall get out of this, that this too shall pass. Yun din pala sabi ni Rosema. Sabi ni Rosema, glad to have access to this kind of videos. Learned a lot in the webinar part as well. So, yun. Best comments again will be featured in the next video. I don't know. I hope that yung iba, they wanted to see their comments also. That's why I'm trying to make this portion, especially to the regular subscribers. And dami, I've been seeing your names over and over come out on a regular basis. So thank you to those that are regularly watching and regularly subscribing. This is just me. I guess I just wanted to highlight you guys on top of all of this. So there, this video is already out. Edsar Trinidad handles 10.5 billion pesos of funds. You want to know how fund managers think? Link. No, it's just the video prior to this. Then you have Salve Duplito talking about long-term investing secrets. Why long-term wins. You can also watch that. A lot of people medyo naiyak daw sila after watching that video. So there. Quick announcements. I have 5 books. If you don't know about it, the link is in the description. They're all available via Shopee. One is called Stock Investing Made Easy, where I talk about the basics of investing in the stock market. Second is winning strategies for investing that has fundamentals and technicals. Then third is stress-free investing. It talks about portfolio management. The fourth book is Where Should You Invest? It talks about all of the other investments not talked about in the first 3 books. Then lastly, fifth book, Breaking the Resistance. It's purely about technical analysis. So for those who want to learn how to trade, it's right there in the description. Then I'd also like to point out, aside from those things, no, I'd like to point out that 2 online courses with Chinkitan. It's called Stock Market for Everyone. It's a Tagalog stock market course, the basics of the market. Link is in the description below. Then I also have another course with Shansi, nakakalimutan ko. Shansi, it's called Make Money, Grow Money. Basics of investing, basics of entrepreneurship, basics of stock market. The link is in the description. Then for those asking for stuff, my gear and everything, I have links below for the cameras, the lights that I use, this one, the mics that I have, different mics that I use, katulad ng Rode na nandun. They're also in the link, they're also in the description below. And yun, I have a Patreon account for those who want to support this channel. It's also in the description below. And I guess that's it. So for those who got a lot of value from this, please comment. I'm learning. This is something that's helping me. Appreciate it if you're new to like, subscribe, and then share. Let's make learning about investing and learning about the market something that's cool and something that's relevant to the times. That it's time that more Filipinos learn more about investing. It's time that more Filipinos
In
learn more.
Makati, the temperature right now is 29 degrees.
Kulit talaga. Kulit ng Samsung, no? Anyways, I hope that we create a framework where more and more people learn more about investing. More and more people learn to use the tools like this in YouTube, that you can learn, that you can know more about the markets. And I really do hope that this channel helps more people, that it gives you the right context on investing. So again, if you like this new format, podcast slash webinar style, put it in the comment section. I'm learning. I like this podcast format. And then if you guys have any other video suggestions, we're gonna make more videos for you guys as well. So that's it. Yeah, I guess that's it. I hope this video, guys, helped you trade well, trade strong, trade smart, like my cap is saying. And to everyone starting the week, keep on hustling, keep on working, keep on pushing, never stop dreaming, but not just stop dreaming, never stop fulfilling your dreams. So that's it for now, Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.